Over 1,000 scientists have now signed on to a statement that challenges the idea of Darwinism as the sole explanation for the origin and the progression of life on our planet. I bring this up because it's something that I've talked about many times. Darwinism, there are elements of it that are quite true, such as natural selection and survival of the fittest, but Darwinism does not explain the origins of life, and it does not explain the rise of humans. There's this missing link in the archaeological record, and there are reasons for that. There's a reason why they have not found a steady transition from earlier primates into Homo sapiens. There's a very good reason for that, which I'll sort of get into here. But even as much as Darwinism does explain, adaptation, survival of the fittest, as I mentioned, and that is active all the time, well, except in humans, but in wild animals or insects or even flowers and plants and so on, there is natural selection taking place all the time. And that's impossible to refute. But the origin of complex life cannot be explained by random chance. That's the thing. And so the origins of life, really, if you trace it back, you have to understand the origins of the universe. If you go all the way back to what scientists say was the beginning of time and space, the Big Bang, as it's called. The Big Bang, they say, the top physicists and astronomers and astrophysicists and so on, they say the Big Bang happened without cause, without a reason. It was a spontaneous creation of everything out of nothing. Now, look at that statement. First of all, mainstream scientists are supposed to believe entirely in cause and effect. They should never believe in an effect without a cause, that this is a cause-effect universe, even according to science. That's why scientific experiments work, because there's cause and effect. But yet, for the creation of everything, they believe it happened as a miracle, really, if you think about it, without cause. Well, that's impossible according to science. And this is why scientists, even the late Stephen Hawking, had such difficulty trying to describe this. I think Stephen Hawking said something like the universe came into being, everything was created out of nothing because it could. Something like that. Really? This is your genius explanation, because it could? That's a nonsensical, that's non-logic. Now, a far more logical explanation is that our entire cosmos was, in fact, engineered by a designer, an architect, someone who wanted to create our universe with its existing laws, existing physics, electromagnetism, nuclear atomic forces, and so on. That intelligent designer is called God. And that intelligent designer not only created the universe, the cosmos, that is the rational explanation for how the cosmos came into existence, but also that designer created and seeded the universe with DNA, which is a digital data storage system that we're only beginning to truly understand. And it encodes not just genetic information, but behavioral and psychological information as well. There's epigenetic information in it. So we've only begun to understand DNA. There's much more to it that's yet to come. I believe DNA actually is a holographic encoding storage system that encodes much more than what we've been told. Now, the Bible's story about the creation of the universe, talks about 7 days. The Bible speaks in metaphor in many, many cases, in most cases. And the Bible talks about, the universe was created in 7 days, and on different days, different things were created. Those are metaphors. It doesn't mean it literally, because how could there even be days before the creation of the universe, since a day is defined as one Earth rotation? Well, there was no Earth at the beginning of the universe, so there were no days. It's just a metaphor. But what the Bible is saying is that our universe was seeded. Our universe was created. And who created it? Well, obviously, someone who is a vastly superior, more intelligent, more capable, even technologically capable entity or being or civilization, perhaps a being that is part of a civilization that rests above all of us. And that he, God, created this universe as a simulation. Now, the reason I mention that is because a lot of high level mathematicians, philosophers, and scientists are now beginning to talk about how they believe that our reality is actually computer code. They believe we're living in a matrix. They believe that this is a virtual reality type of simulation and that our souls or consciousness is inserted into that simulation, into these bodies that we now inhabit, but without memory of where we came from and who we really are, because part of the simulation, part of the fun, if you will, or the challenge, is to see what you do if you don't know where you came from. See what you do if you're born without a memory that you are actually a being of God. Do you still choose goodness and life and light, or do you go into narcissism and evil and deception and lies? See, this it's a testing ground. So that explains the purpose that Earth is a testing ground for souls, souls that exist above and beyond this reality. In other words, your soul exists outside this realm, which is why the soul is not physical, because this realm, this simulation is physical, but your soul is metaphysical, i.e., metaphysical. Your soul is beyond physical, above physical. And yet, here you are experiencing this world in a physical nature because you, in some way, at some level, your soul agreed to take part in this test, this simulation. And the simulation is over upon your biological death, at which point your metaphysical being is separated from your perishable physical human body. And you rejoin that higher dimension from which you came. In other words, you go to heaven. What is heaven? Heaven is it's the higher reality where souls actually exist, where consciousness exists. It's the higher reality where the beings exist that created this universe, this simulation. It's just like if you were a really skilled computer programmer and you sat down and you wrote a Sim City type of simulation, and then you were able to inject consciousness into it. You would have created a testing ground. But outside that testing ground is the real world where you are the designer / architect / programmer. And that's a really good metaphor for what is actually happening, I believe. That our world, everything that we think is real, the physical world, is just a construct. And there is even, by the way, there is physical evidence to support that notion. Quanta. If you look at atomic physics, you look at the emissions of light, you look at the leaps of electrons from the orbital shells of atoms, you look at electromagnetism and many other physical phenomena, what you find is that they operate in a quantized manner. They are not analog, they are not fluid, they are quantized. In other words, they transition in steps, leaps that are digitized. Like there's a resolution. Like your screen has a screen resolution, maybe it's like 1920 by 1080 pixels. It's as if the fabric of our reality is quantized into a resolution of subatomic type of pixels, you could say. Quantum physics. I mean, you look at the orbital electrons of atoms, and the electrons don't orbit the atoms at any distance, nor in any random arrangement. They orbit in very specific patterns, and they leap from one orbital shell to another shell without going in between those shells. Electrons are teleported from one electron shell to another electron shell. There is atomic teleportation happening every moment in all the cells in your body and all around you. Atomic teleportation seemingly violates the laws of physics, but it can work in a giant simulation because the simulation is all code. Code, it's like the Matrix. It's like a giant cosmic God matrix. The code presents the reality to you. When you observe things, when you observe atoms and you observe physical phenomena, you are observing the reaction of what the code is telling you is happening. And this is why nobody can explain magnetism, by the way. Magnetism is just a law of matter that's built into the code. No one can explain it. Whoa, you mean these certain special rocks just emit some kind of magical force to be attracted to metal? Yeah, you accept it because it seems normal to you, but it's like magic. It's not magic, it's built into the code. The laws of magnetism, the laws of electromagnetic propagation, the laws of the weak nuclear forces and the strong nuclear forces, the mass of an electron, the charge of an electron, the vector of the charge or the intensity of the charge. All these are laws. They're like variables or properties that are written into the code of the universe. Well, who created that code? God did, the creator. The same being that created the entire universe also created the laws of the universe and fine-tuned them to be able to function in a way that allows the sun and planets and liquid water and biology and carbon-based life forms and all these things. Darwinism doesn't explain the creation of the universe and the creation of the laws of physics, but an intelligent designer does explain that. So there's much more to our reality than just Darwinism and survival of the fittest. And yeah, we came from apes. That's such a limited point of view, actually. You need to look at a much bigger cosmic view of why things are the way they are. And I'm not talking about just the anthropomorphic point of view that we're only here to observe the universe because it's the universe that could host human life. I'm talking about the miracle that our universe has become. It's astonishing beyond any reason. And it's because it is a miracle. It has always been a miracle. Your life is a miracle. And every moment, every chemical reaction, everything that happens in our world is enabled by miracles of the cosmos that were created by an intelligent designer. It's astonishing. Much more ahead. I've got a website called cosmic.news. You might want to check that out. It's interesting. Doesn't publish every day, but some interesting articles there. Cosmic.news. And also read my main website, NaturalNews.com. I'm Mike Adams, the Health Ranger. Thank you for listening. Most of the health products and supplements that you buy at Amazon or Whole Foods or grocery stores are never tested for glyphosate, pesticides, heavy metals, or even microbiology. At our store, healthrangerstore.com, we test everything we sell. We offer the cleanest, lab-verified products sold anywhere in the world. healthrangerstore.com, over 700 products for health and home, all laboratory validated and tested for your safety. Check it out at healthrangerstore.com. Thank you for watching. If you want to support our mission, visit us at healthrangerstore.com for the world's largest selection of lab-verified superfood and nutritional products for healthy living. It's at healthrangerstore.com.